First of all, let me tell you about an important fact that I have been able to demonstrate clearly through more than 40 years of teaching. That is the fact that musical ability is not inborn. Rather, any child can be raised to have truly outstanding musical ability. On the other hand, the child can also be raised so that he comes to have no musical sense at all. I myself want to see every child raised to have fine ability. That is my keen desire. I would like to appeal to every society in the world to recognize that any child, no matter what the field is, can truly develop outstanding ability if only the method of training or raising him is good. For example, even in the case of the violin or of musical education, areas which have traditionally been considered to depend on inborn talent, my work has shown to society that, on the contrary, ability can be developed. I have been doing this for 40 years now. One of the basic principles of living things, not just of human beings, is that they grow physically and adapt to their environment. This is one of the functions of everything which is given life. In the case of man, this process can be seen clearly. A child is given nourishment, and day by day he grows physically. Seeing this, can we help but be impressed by the great power of life visible in this process? And it is this same power which comes into play in respect to stimuli from one's surroundings and in the adaptation to them. For if we do not adapt, we perish. This too is part of the same principle. For example, if it is too cold, if the cold is too intense, so much so that the living thing cannot adapt to it, the creature will die. In this way, in order to protect ourselves, we live by continually adapting to our surroundings. From the day we are born, this power functions every day, enabling us to adapt as needed to all external stimuli. And in the course of doing this, we develop our various abilities. I have been able to learn this from over 40 years of teaching experience. Now, because of heredity, or the laws of genetics, every child who is born is physically different. In fact, there is such an infinite variety that truly no two persons are the same. And considering the matter of ability, these living beings, each physically different, go along adapting to various external stimuli in order to live, and in this way develop their various abilities. We can confirm this by a glance at history. All the children who were born in the Stone Age, for example, grew up within the framework of their Stone Age parents and the thoughts, feelings, and abilities of these parents. And being given only such stimuli, every one of these children, without exception, grew up into a Stone Age person and even passed from this life, having never developed more than Stone Age abilities. I believe that we humans have progressed to where we are today by this continual process, with children always absorbing from their environment the history which had gone before, and in each age, becoming naturally a typical person of that period. So it is only because of environment that a child grows into the person he becomes. In fact, if the factor of environment is set aside, it is not even true that a child born today must of necessity grow up to become a person of this day. For example, 10,000 years in the future, a higher level of human being and a more advanced culture may exist. Let's suppose that civilization keeps on progressing, and such a world will exist. Suppose we could give a child born today to someone in that society of 10,000 years from now, and have him raise it. In that environment, surrounded by the thoughts and feelings of that advanced society, even the child born today will grow into a highly developed person of that future society of 10,000 years from now. In other words, which of our abilities will develop and how they will develop are determined by the kind of stimulation a child receives every day. The power producing this effect is the same great power which produces the physical growth of our bodies. In this respect, the child's parents, in that they form his environment, have the greatest responsibility. Every day, the child is subjected to the ideas and feelings of his parents, and before he knows it, by means of the power of living things which I've mentioned, he has internalized various abilities. As an example, here in Japan, every child born in Osaka, everyone without exception, grows up to speak what we call the Osaka dialect. He masters it right to the most delicate nuances. For every day, he continually receives the excellent stimuli of hearing the delicate expressions of that dialect. And as all living beings, he adapts to those stimuli and gradually acquires the delicate ability to speak the Osaka dialect. This happens to every child who grows up in that environment. They all become perfect speakers of the Osaka dialect. This process of how man naturally acquires ability, isn't this the best possible model for our theory and practice of musical education? I myself have based my teaching on this principle. It was almost 40 years ago that I began experiments with young children 3 or 4 years old, Toshiya Eto, Koji Toyota, Kenji and Takeshi Kobayashi, and Hidetaro Suzuki. And every day, following the same principle I recognized in the example of the Osaka dialect, I provided the little children with audio stimuli. Every day, I had them listen to the performances of Fritz Kreisler or the wonderful records of Thibault. To form an ideal environment for the child, every day I had his parents play such records for him. And I myself strove in the same way to help the children grow by creating an ideal environment. But I thought of myself as an assistant or helper. I told them, your teacher is Kreisler. And I continually worked to instill in them the sense or feeling of Kreisler's music and to point them in that direction. Now 40 years have passed, and Toshiya Eto is a professor at the Curtis School of Music in America. Koji Toyoda is concertmaster of the Berlin Radio Symphony Orchestra. And others of these same children have gone on to become concertmasters of famous orchestras in Czechoslovakia, Canada, America, etc. This record clearly indicates that children anywhere in the world, as human beings, have, regardless of their race, this wonderful life force. We should recognize and deeply revere this and strive to make the very most of it. The simple fact is that the people of every race are, first of all, human beings. The people of the world should all hold this same respect for life and strive to help each other and work together for a happy world for all. And all children, through music, can develop into human beings with beautiful hearts and high levels of sensitivity, and through their playing of musical instruments, can also raise their level of mental activity. Speaking from my own experience, these children, there are now several 10,000 young children studying the violin with us in Japan. These young children will grow up to be able to play the Vivaldi Concerto in G minor or the Bach Concerto while they are still in primary school. Moreover, we have clearly recognized the fact that children who have been raised in this way, so that their musical abilities have become highly developed, also do outstandingly well in school. In the 28 years I have been carrying on this activity, my experience has shown that this fact is positively true. In some form, then, we must build for children a base of ability for their growth into fine human beings. In this regard, musical education can serve to help people develop into truly beautiful beings, and by actually playing an instrument, they become people of truly outstanding mental ability. Later, they'll benefit from this, no matter what field they go into, for our activities are directed not at producing musicians necessarily, but at developing fine people. Someday, I hope, all the children of the world, through their study of music, can develop into people of beautiful sense and outstanding ability. When this happens, all the people of the world will respect each other and will truly become as a single human race, people of this earth. We and all the teachers who are working in the area of education, by applying this mother tongue method of education, can assure that the day will come when we can truly create such an era of culture, such a civilization. To do this, the same method by which children learn to speak their mother tongue so fluently can be applied not only in musical education, but also in all types of education. I keenly want to encourage all teachers to do this. In the case of music, we ourselves should continue our research to create the ideal way for children to develop, to learn, just as they learn their mother tongue, quickly, easily, with none having to toil excessively. I earnestly want to request this of all of you. It is my desire to have these videotapes seen by as many teachers and parents as possible throughout the world. I sincerely want to urge them, teachers, fathers, mothers, to recognize anew the true worth and wonder of human life, and to endeavor, by your own hands and through your love, so that all children of the world can grow into fine, outstanding persons. And I, too, hope to continue along with all of you my study and research into education and methods of developing ability. Thank you.